Rain tapped against the window like impatient fingers, the sound mixing with the distant sirens that seemed to echo through the city every night. Clara Hayes groaned, rolling over in bed. She had been working 3 straight night shifts at St. Mary's Hospital, and her body felt like a wrung-out rag. The only thing she wanted was sleep. Sleep without interruptions. But the phone wouldn't stop ringing. It wasn't her alarm. It wasn't the hospital. It was her personal phone buzzing like an angry insect on the nightstand. Clara reached for it with a groggy hand, blinking at the screen. Unknown number. Her voice was rough when she answered. Hello. At first there was nothing. Only silence. She sat up, instantly annoyed. Hello? Who is this? Do you know what time it is? Pause. Then a man's voice. Controlled. Where is it? Clara's skin prickled. His tone wasn't curious. Wasn't confused. It was a demand. Excuse me, she said, her throat dry. You were supposed to deliver it an hour ago. His words came slowly, each one deliberate, like he had all the time in the world. Where is it? Her heartbeat quickened. You've got the wrong number, Clara said. I don't know what you're talking about. My name is Clara Hayes. I'm a nurse, not a... Don't play games with me. The man's voice dropped lower, more dangerous now. Where is it? Clara's stomach tightened. She looked around her small apartment as if expecting someone to appear out of the shadows. I think you made a mistake, she whispered. Really? I don't know you. I was asleep before you called. I don't have anything of yours. The silence stretched. She could hear his breathing, steady, calm, like he wasn't rattled at all. Not like her. Then he said, describe yourself. Clara froze. What? Well, absolutely not. Describe yourself, he repeated, softer this time. Or I'll find you and see for myself. It wasn't shouted. It wasn't screamed. It was said with a certainty that made her chest tighten. He wasn't bluffing. Clara's hand shook as she clutched the phone. I'm calling the police, she snapped. He chuckled. A cold, humorless sound. By all means, he said. Tell them Adrian Cross would like a word. The name meant nothing to her, but he said it as if it should. As if it carried weight. Look, Mr. Cross, Clara forced firmness into her voice. You have the wrong number. Please stop calling. What color is your hair, Clara Hayes? He went still. What? Your hair, he repeated, unhurried. Dark or light? She knew she should hang up. She knew this was wrong. But her mouth betrayed her before her mind caught up. Dark brown. Your eyes. She squeezed her eyes shut, heart hammering. Green, she muttered, her voice breaking. Interesting, Adrian murmured. There were muffled voices on his end, as though he had covered the phone to speak to someone else. Then his tone shifted, quieter, almost thoughtful. You really don't know, do you? No, Clara whispered. Then I've mistaken you for someone else. He sounded almost amused now. My apologies for disturbing your sleep, Miss Hayes. Rest well. And then the line went dead. Clara sat in the dark, clutching her phone. The rain beat harder against the window, as if echoing the panic in her chest. She told herself it was nothing, just a wrong number. But deep down she knew it wasn't that simple. The next day at the hospital, the call haunted her. She nearly dropped in for bag because she was replaying his voice in her head. Confident. Certain. She told herself it was exhaustion. But she couldn't forget the way he said her name. By afternoon she convinced herself it was over. Whoever Adrian Cross was, he'd forget her. He'd move on. But she couldn't shake the feeling that by answering that call, she had made a mistake. Clara was halfway through her shift when a coworker, Michelle, walked up to the nurse's station holding a clipboard. You've got a delivery, Michelle said casually. Clara frowned. What? Flowers. Reception desk. Big ones. Clara blinked. She hadn't been on a date in over a year. Nobody in her life would send her flowers. There must be some mistake, Clara said. Michelle smirked. If it is, then someone made a very expensive mistake. Go look. During her break, Clara went down to reception. She stopped in her tracks. The bouquet was enormous. Deep red roses mixed with pure white lilies, wrapped in black silk ribbon. It looked like something out of a magazine. Everyone was staring at it. The receptionist grinned. Lucky girl. Want me to help you carry it? Clara shook her head, her stomach sinking. Who left it? Delivery guy in a suit. Said to give it only to you. Made me check your ID. Clara swallowed hard. Her hands trembled as she found the card tucked among the flowers. The handwriting was neat, elegant. Some wrong numbers are meant to happen. Looking forward to making yours. Her pulse raced. He dropped the card like it burned. It's not from a secret admirer, she said quickly. It's a mistake. But she knew better. That evening when her shift ended, Clara carried the flowers reluctantly out of the hospital. She told herself she'd throw them away. But something deep inside whispered, if she did he would know. And he would not be pleased. The hospital parking garage was dim, echoing with the drip of water and the sound of her footsteps. She tightened her grip on the bouquet and the pepper spray on her keychain. That's when she noticed it. A sleek black car idling 2 spaces from hers. Tinted windows. Engine running. Clara's throat went dry. She quickened her pace. But before she could reach her car, the passenger door of the black vehicle opened. A tall man stepped out. Perfectly tailored suit. Dark hair slicked back. Strong jaw. Eyes that seemed to pierce right through her. Clara Hayes. His voice was the same one that had haunted her dreams the night before. We finally meet. Clara froze. How did you find me? He smiled slightly, though it didn't reach his eyes. Finding people isn't difficult, Adrian Cross said. Not when I want to find them. Her breath caught. What do you want? To apologize, he said smoothly. And to satisfy my curiosity. Clara tightened her grip on her pepper spray. This is stalking. It's illegal. If I wanted to terrify you, Adrian said softly, I assure you, there are more effective methods at my disposal. The casual way he said it chilled her to the bone. Stay away from me, Clara said firmly. Instead he stepped closer. Your hair is darker than I imagined. And your eyes, greener. Her cheeks burned with anger and fear. You need help. Leave me alone. He tilted his head, studying her as if she were a puzzle. Tell me, Clara, he said, his voice like velvet over steel. Why did you stay on the phone last night? Most people would have hung up. He swallowed. I was half asleep. And I'm a nurse. I answer calls at strange hours all the time. The caretaker. His lips curved faintly. Always putting others first. This ends now, Clara said, taking a step back. But Adrian didn't move. His gaze was steady, unreadable. The flowers, he said. Do they meet your approval? They're unnecessary. I disagree. Beauty deserves to be acknowledged with beauty. Her heart thudded painfully. She didn't know whether to run, to scream, or to fight. From now on, Adrian said quietly, you're mine. The words weren't shouted. They weren't even forceful. But they landed like chains around her neck. Before Clara could respond, another man appeared beside the car. Broad shoulders, a bulge beneath his jacket that could only be a weapon. He glanced at Adrian and then scanned the garage. Adrian looked back at Clara. His smile was almost gentle. We'll talk again soon, he said. Then he slipped back into the car. The door shut with a quiet click. The black vehicle rolled away into the shadows, leaving Clara frozen, the roses clutched to her chest like a curse. The roses were still on Clara's kitchen counter. She had thought about throwing them away the moment she got home, but every time she reached for the vase she froze. Something about discarding them felt dangerous, as if he would somehow know, as if it would be taken as an insult. So the bouquet sat there, red and white flowers looking absurdly out of place in her small apartment. She couldn't escape their heavy perfume. By the third night, Clara hadn't slept more than a few hours at a time. Every creak of the pipes made her jump. Every car passing outside made her peek through the blinds. When her phone buzzed, she nearly dropped it. Unknown number again. Her chest tightened. Against her better judgment, she answered. What do you want from me? She demanded. Good evening, Clara. Adrian's voice was calm, as if they were old acquaintances. You sound tired. I don't want to talk to you. Stop calling me. That's not what you want, he replied smoothly. If it were, you would have blocked my number. Clara's hand tightened around the phone. Why me? Why are you doing this? Pause. Then. Because you interest me. That's not an answer. It's the only one that matters. She tried to steady her breathing. Listen carefully. I don't know who you are and I don't want anything to do with you. Stay away from me or I'll go to the police. Adrian chuckled softly. You could. But if you do, I'll know. And Clara, police won't be able to keep you safe from the people who are coming. Her stomach lurched. What are you talking about? Silence. She could almost feel his eyes through the line. You'll understand soon enough, he said finally. But for now, remember this. From the moment you answered my call, you became mine. You may resist, you may curse me, but the truth doesn't change. Stop saying that, Clara snapped. No, Adrian said. Because it's the truth. The line went dead. The next day at work, Clara tried to bury herself in her shift. But the weight of his words pressed on her chest all day. Why? He had said it like a vow. During her break, she told Michelle about the calls, carefully leaving out the details about her name and hair and eyes. Michelle frowned. Creepy. You should call the cops. I thought about it, Clara admitted. But, I don't know. He doesn't sound like someone who can be stopped that easily. Michelle rolled her eyes. That's just fear talking. They deal with stalkers all the time. But this didn't feel like a normal stalker. Adrian Cross wasn't sending awkward texts or loitering outside her window. He was operating like someone who already knew everything about her. Someone untouchable. When Clara left the hospital that night, she scanned the garage nervously. Her old Honda Civic sat alone in its spot. No sleek black car. Relief washed through her, until she noticed the envelope tucked under her windshield wiper. Hands trembling, she pulled it free. Inside was a single piece of paper with elegant handwriting. You shouldn't doubt me, Clara. I always keep my word. Her stomach dropped. That night she double-checked the locks on her doors, her windows, even shoved a chair under her doorknob. She lay in bed clutching her phone like a weapon, unable to escape the sense that she wasn't alone. Around 2 a.m. her phone buzzed again. She answered before she could stop herself. Where are you? Adrian asked. I'm home, she whispered. Good. That's where you should be. Safe. Her throat went dry. How do you know where I live? He ignored the question. Get some sleep. Tomorrow will be a long day. Then the line went dead. Clara's nightmare was always the same. Flames licking at the walls of her childhood home. Smoke choking the air. Her parents' voices shouting her name. Then nothing but silence. She had been 19 when the fire took them. Investigators had called it faulty wiring. Tragedy. He had believed them. She had had no choice. But now, as she woke drenched in sweat, she couldn't shake Adrian's voice. You'll understand soon enough. When she arrived at the hospital the next afternoon, Michelle handed her another envelope. This came for you. Hand-delivered. Clara's pulse quickened. She tore it open. Inside was a photograph. Her parents smiling in front of their old house. And scrawled on the back in the same handwriting as before. They didn't die in an accident. Clara's breath caught. Her knees nearly buckled. She sank into a chair, clutching the photo. Michelle looked alarmed. Clara? What is it? Clara forced a shaky smile. Nothing. Just nothing. She shoved the photo back into the envelope before anyone else could see. She made it through her shift in a fog, her hands trembling every time she touched a chart. She told herself not to believe him. He was trying to scare her. Manipulate her. But that night when she got home, Adrian was waiting. The black car was parked across the street. The moment she stepped out of her Civic, the passenger door opened. Adrian stepped out like he belonged there. His suit was flawless, his posture confident, his expression unreadable. Good evening, Clara, he said softly. She froze, keys clutched like a weapon. You can't be here. Why not? Because this is harassment. No, he took a step closer. This is inevitability. Stay away from me, Clara warned. Adrian tilted his head. What frightens you more, Clara? That I found you? Or that part of you is curious why I came? Her mouth went dry. I have nothing to do with you, she whispered. That's where you're wrong. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a folder, holding it out. She hesitated, then snatched it. She flipped it open and froze. Inside were documents. Her birth certificate. Her school records. Her employment history. Even photographs of her. Some from years ago, others from just last week. One showed her leaving her apartment in the morning, coffee cup in hand, completely unaware she was being watched. Her stomach turned. How do you have this? I needed to know who I was dealing with, Adrian said calmly. And what I found was remarkable. Remarkable, she spat, shoving the folder back at him. You've been stalking me. I've been protecting myself. And now protecting you. I don't need your protection. Yes, you do. His tone was matter-of-fact, leaving no room for argument. Because the fire that killed your parents wasn't an accident. It was punishment. The world tilted around her. What did you just say? Adrian's eyes darkened. Your father wasn't simply an accountant, Clara. He was involved in something far more dangerous. And when he tried to walk away, he paid the price. Her chest tightened painfully. You're lying. I have no reason to lie. Tears burned her eyes. My father was a good man. People are rarely as simple as we want them to be. His voice softened slightly. He made mistakes, but he tried to fix them. That's why he died. No, Clara shook her head violently. No, I don't believe you. You're just trying to control me. This is sick. Adrian took a slow step closer. I don't need to control you, Clara. I'm offering you the truth. Something no one else ever will. She stumbled back until her spine hit her apartment door. Get away from me. Adrian stopped just out of reach, his eyes locked on hers. For the first time she saw something flicker in his expression. Something sharp, something possessive. You can hate me, he said quietly. But you can't ignore me. From the moment you picked up that phone, your life changed. You belong to my world now, whether you want it or not. Her hand shook as she fumbled with her keys, finally shoving them into the lock. She flung her door open and darted inside, slamming it shut. But even through the wood she could hear his voice, calm and unshaken. From now on, Clara, you're mine. Clara's apartment felt smaller every day. The roses on the counter had finally wilted, their petals scattered like drops of dried blood across her kitchen. She hadn't thrown them away, but she hadn't watered them either. She told herself she was keeping them as evidence, proof of his harassment, but deep down she knew the truth. Throwing them away still felt dangerous. 3 nights after Adrian's visit, Clara came home from another exhausting shift and found an envelope on her doormat. She froze, staring at it. No one else in the building left notes like this. Her hands shook as she picked it up and tore it open. Inside was a small silver chain. At the end of it hung a locket. Clara gasped. It was her locket. Her father had given it to her on her 19th birthday, just a few weeks before the fire. She had worn it constantly until that night when everything was consumed by flames. He thought it had been lost forever. But here it was. She sat on the floor, clutching it like a lifeline. The oval silver surface was scratched but intact. The filigree pattern on the front gleamed faintly under the hall light. And on the back, just as she remembered, were faintly engraved numbers. Her chest tightened. The memory came rushing back. Her father's hands, pressing the locket into hers. His words, "Keep this safe, Clara. It belonged to your grandmother." But she had always known it was more than jewelry. The way he had said it, the way he had looked at her. As if it carried meaning. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered with trembling fingers. "What did you do?" she demanded. "How do you have this?" Adrian's voice was calm, velvet smooth. "I returned what was yours. You broke into my home. Again." "No. I delivered something precious. Your father left you clues, Clara. That locket is one of them." "I don't know what you're talking about," she snapped. "You will," Adrian said. "Think. Did you ever open it?" Her fingers fumbled at the clasp. She opened the locket. Inside was the tiny photo she remembered. Her parents on their wedding day, smiling, frozen in a happier time. "There's nothing," she whispered. "Look closer." Her hand shook as she tried to remove the picture. It wasn't glued in, it sat in a thin frame. With effort she pried it free. Behind it, folded so small it was almost invisible, was a piece of paper. Clara's breath caught. She unfolded it carefully. Numbers and letters were scrawled across it in her father's handwriting. "What is this?" she whispered. "A key," Adrian said softly. "To what Gregory Petrov stole from me. I don't know anyone named Gregory Petrov." "You don't need to," Adrian replied. "What matters is that your number was 1 digit away from his. When he died, people started looking at you. And now they'll believe you have what he took." Her blood ran cold. "I don't," she said desperately. "I don't want anything to do with this. Just leave me alone. You think walking away will protect you? Adrian asked, his voice harder now. You think those people will care about your innocence? Oh, Claire. They will come. And when they do, you'll wish you had me beside you. Tears stung her eyes. Why me? Adrian's tone softened again. Because fate put you in my path. And now whether you like it or not, you matter. The line went dead. Clara sat there on the floor, clutching the locket and the tiny paper. Her father's handwriting blurred through her tears. For the first time since the fire, she wondered if everything she believed about her parents' deaths had been a lie. And Adrian Cross, the man who terrified her, the man who claimed she was his, might be the only one who knew the truth. The next evening, Clara left her shift early, too distracted to function. Michelle had raised an eyebrow but hadn't pressed. Clara's head was full of numbers, of memories, of Adrian's voice. She wanted answers. She never made it home. As she stepped into the hospital parking garage, two men in dark suits intercepted her. Miss Hayes, one asked politely. Her grip tightened on her pepper spray. Who are you? Mr. Cross sent us. Her stomach dropped. Before she could respond, a sleek black car pulled up. The back door opened. Adrian sat inside, perfectly composed. His eyes locked on hers. Clara, he said softly. Get in. Her pulse raced. No. You're not safe here, Adrian said. And you know it. The men stepped slightly closer. Not threatening but blocking her path. Claire looked around. The garage was empty. Her Civic sat several spaces away. Her options were clear. With a shaky breath, she slid into the car. The door shut with a quiet thud, sealing her fate. The car glided through the city, smooth and silent. Adrian sat beside her, hands folded neatly, eyes fixed on her like he could read every thought. Clara pressed herself against the door, clutching the locket in her hand like a talisman. Where are you taking me? She asked finally. Somewhere safe, Adrian replied. You keep saying that. But safe from what? He studied her for a long moment. From everyone who wants what you now hold in your hand. Clara glanced down at the locket. I don't even know what this is. You will. She looked out the window. The city lights gave way to the darker, wealthier suburbs. Finally, the car turned down a long tree-lined drive. At the end stood a mansion. Stone walls, glowing windows, iron gates swinging open silently to let them in. Clara's breath caught. Looked like something out of a Gothic novel, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The car stopped beneath a covered portico. A man opened her door. Adrian offered his hand. Clara. She hesitated, then took it, her skin burning where they touched. The foyer inside was vast, with marble floors, a sweeping staircase and a chandelier that sparkled like ice. Guards in dark suits stood discreetly at the edges. Clara's heart pounded. This isn't safe. This is a prison. Adrian's lips curved faintly. Prison? Oh, protection? Yes. I want to leave. You can, Adrian said. But if you do, I cannot guarantee your survival. Right now you're a target. People already know your name. Your face. They've connected you to Gregory Petrov. And they won't stop until they get what they want. Her throat tightened. And what do you want? Adrian stepped closer, lowering his voice. To keep you alive. Clara swallowed hard. Why? His eyes darkened. Because you're mine. She shook her head violently. I'm not yours. I don't belong to you. Don't you? He asked softly. Then why are you here, Clara? Why didn't you run? Tears stung her eyes. There's always a choice, Adrian murmured. But choices have consequences. He gestured and one of the guards led them into a study. A fire crackled in the stone fireplace, casting shadows across shelves of leather-bound books. Two armchairs faced the flames. Sit, Adrian said. Clara sank into one, too exhausted to argue. A woman in a black uniform entered silently, setting a tray with food and tea before them. Adrian dismissed her with a nod. Clara picked at the meal mechanically, her appetite gone. Adrian ate with calm precision as though this were any ordinary evening. Finally he leaned back, swirling the amber liquid in his glass. Your father, he said, worked for men he shouldn't have. He laundered their money. When he tried to get out, they killed him and your mother. Claire's chest ached. No. He was a good man. He was. But good men can still make dangerous choices. She stared at the fire, trembling. And you? What are you? Adrian's gaze didn't waver. A man who has learned to survive in their world. And a man who intends to finish what your father started. Her voice cracked. What does that have to do with me? Everything, Adrian said. Because you are the key he left behind. Clara gripped the locket tightly, the metal digging into her palm. I didn't ask for this. No one ever does, Adrian replied softly. She looked at him, anger and fear warring inside her. And if I refuse? Adrian leaned forward, his voice low and certain. Then you die. Maybe not tonight. Maybe not tomorrow. But soon. Unless you let me protect you. Clara's eyes filled with tears. And what's the price of your protection? Adrian's gaze burned into hers. Your trust. Your obedience. And eventually, your heart. Her breath caught. Before she could respond, a guard entered abruptly, his face tense. Sir. We've got movement on the perimeter. Adrian's expression hardened instantly. He stood, his calm demeanor sharpening into something cold and lethal. Clara, he said, his eyes locking onto hers. Stay close to me. No matter what happens. The fire crackled, the shadows deepened, and Clara realized with chilling certainty. She wasn't in a mansion. She was in a cage. The fire in Adrian's study had barely died down when chaos erupted. The guard who entered didn't shout, but his words made Clara's blood run cold. Perimeter breach. North side. At least a dozen men. Armed. Adrian's calm broke like glass. His face sharpened into something colder, more dangerous, the polished charm peeling away to reveal steel. How long? Adrian asked. Minutes. Maybe less. Lock down the house. Double the guards. No one in or out without my order. The guard nodded and disappeared. Clara's heart hammered. What's happening? Adrian turned to her, his voice low and steady, like a man who never lost control. You're about to see why I told you you're not safe. Her throat tightened. Who are they? People who believe you know where the missing evidence is. People who won't hesitate to kill you for it. Clara stumbled back. I told you I don't know anything. They don't care, Adrian cut in sharply. They believe what they want. Another shout echoed in the hall, followed by the distant thud of boots. The sound was growing closer. Adrian moved fast. He crossed to a panel in the wall and pressed his hand against it. A section of wood slid open, revealing an elevator hidden behind the shelves. Come, he said. Clara hesitated. Where are you taking me? Somewhere safer than here. I don't. He grabbed her wrist, his grip firm but not cruel. His eyes locked onto hers, steady and unyielding. Clara, you have two choices. Come with me and live or stay here and die. Decide. Her stomach flipped. Fear squeezed her chest. He hated him. She hated his control, his calm certainty. But she wanted to live. She nodded shakily. Fine. He pulled her into the elevator. The doors slid shut just as gunfire cracked somewhere above them. Clara flinched. Relax, Adrian said, his voice maddeningly composed. That's what the guards are for. Relax, she choked. They're shooting. People are dying. And we're leaving, Adrian said. Focus on that. The elevator descended smoothly, too smoothly, until the doors opened on a space that looked nothing like the mansion above. Concrete walls. Glass partitions. Stainless steel. A bunker disguised as luxury. Clara stepped out stunned. This, Adrian said, is where I actually live. He spun on him. You call this living? You're hiding in a bunker. I call this survival. His voice was flat. It's time you learned the difference. Before Clara could respond, another man entered. Marco, the driver she had seen before. His face was tense, his hand resting near the gun at his side. Boss, they're breaching the east wing. We've got minutes before they reach the lower levels. Adrian nodded. Prep the Bentley. Tunnel exit. Marco left without question. Clara backed away. You're insane if you think I'm going with you. Adrian stepped closer, lowering his voice. You think running will save you? You think they'll stop once I'm out of the picture? His gaze bored into her. No. You're the target now. If you walk away, you won't last an hour. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. Why should I trust you? Because I'm the only one who knows why your father gave you that locket. The words hit her like a punch. What do you mean? She whispered. Adrian didn't answer. Instead he pressed something into her hand. A small pistol. Clara recoiled. I can't. You can, he said firmly. Last resort only. Safety's on. You'll thank me later. Before she could argue, Marco reappeared. Car's ready. Adrian grabbed Clara's arm, pulling her with him down a corridor. They passed through another hidden door into an underground garage, where a sleek black Bentley purred quietly. Marco slid behind the wheel. Adrian guided Clara into the back seat and climbed in beside her. The car shot forward into a dark tunnel, headlights cutting through the gloom. Clara clutched the pistol with trembling hands. Where are we going? Adrian leaned back, unbothered. To the truth. The tunnel sloped upward. After what felt like forever, they burst onto a deserted rural road. Rain hammered the windshield. The car accelerated into the storm, carrying Clara deeper into Adrian's world. The storm raged as the Bentley sped north. Clara sat rigid, heart pounding, mind spinning with everything Adrian had said. Finally, she blurted, What do you know about my father? Adrian's eyes flicked to hers. Enough. That's not an answer. He studied her, his expression unreadable. Then he reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded photograph. He handed it to her. Clara unfolded it with shaking hands. Her father stood beside another man she didn't recognize. Both wore suits, their smiles stiff, their eyes wary. The caption on the back read, James Hayes and Richard Dawson 2006. Her breath caught. Who's Dawson? Your father's business partner, Adrian said evenly. The man who helped him launder money for the Kazan group. Clara's stomach dropped. No. My father was an accountant. He was, Adrian agreed. And he used those skills to clean dirty money. Until he tried to get out. Clara shook her head violently. You're lying. Am I? Adrian leaned closer. Then why did he give you the locket? Why hide numbers behind a photograph? Why did Petrov die with your phone number written down? Tears burned her eyes. I don't know. Adrian's voice softened, almost sympathetic. But I intend to find out. And so do the people chasing us. That's why we're going to your family's cabin. Clara's throat closed. The lake house. Adrian nodded. Lake Sherwood. Where you caught your first fish, wasn't it? Her heart stopped. That was exactly what her father's note in the locket had said. The evidence is where we caught your first fish. How do you know that? She whispered. Adrian's lips curved faintly. Because I read it. You went through my locket. I saved your life, he corrected. The men chasing us would have killed you for that note. I'm giving you the chance to survive long enough to discover its meaning. Clara turned away, tears blurring her vision. He hated him. She feared him. And yet part of her believed him. By dawn they reached Lake Sherwood. The storm had passed, leaving mist curling over the water. Clara's chest tightened as the old cabin came into view. Weathered wood. Shuttered windows. A place frozen in time. She stepped out of the car, her boots crunching on the gravel. Memories assaulted her. Her father teaching her to fish, her mother calling them in for dinner. Adrian came up beside her. Show me. She hesitated, then led him to the boathouse. Inside, the smell of damp wood and lake water filled the air. Dust coated the shelves. Fishing rods leaned in the corner. Clara's eyes locked on the mounted base on the wall. She remembered hooking it by accident, laughing as her father lifted it proudly. That, she whispered. It has to be behind that. Adrian crossed the room and lifted the mount. Behind it, embedded in the wall, was a small metal safe. Clara's heart pounded. The numbers on the locket, Adrian murmured. Try them. Her hands shook as she turned the dial. One by one the numbers clicked into place. The safe opened with a soft click. Inside was a waterproof case. Clara pulled it out, her fingers trembling. She opened it and gasped. A black hard drive. And a sealed envelope with her name written in her father's handwriting. Her knees nearly gave out. She clutched the envelope to her chest, tears streaming down her face. Adrian took the hard drive, slipping it inside his jacket. This is what Petrov stole. And this is what Kazan's men will kill for. Clara stared at the envelope. Her father's handwriting blurred through her tears. For Clara. She wanted to open it. She wanted to know everything. But before she could, headlights flared outside. Adrian stiffened. "They're here." Voices shouted. Engines roared. Armed men poured out of vehicles surrounding the cabin. Adrian's eyes met Clara's. Determined. "Stay behind me," he ordered. Clara clutched the envelope, her heart racing. She had come here for answers. Instead she had walked into a war. The boathouse windows rattled with the growl of engines outside. Clara's breath came in shallow bursts as headlights swept across the cabin walls, cutting through the mist. "Who are they?" she whispered, clutching the envelope her father left behind. Adrian's gaze stayed fixed on the door. His hand rested casually on the gun at his side, but there was nothing casual in the sharpness of his expression. "Kazan's men," he said flatly. "I told you they'd come." The name was unfamiliar, but the way he spoke it made Clara's stomach twist. "Stay down," Adrian ordered, his voice low, controlled. Clara crouched behind an overturned table, heart pounding in her throat. Her hands trembled around the envelope, but she didn't let go. It felt like her father's hand still lingered on the paper. Boots crunched on gravel outside. A voice rang out, deep and mocking. "Adrian Cross. You always did have a taste for trouble." Adrian's jaw clenched. He stepped into the center of the boathouse, unflinching. "Kazan." A tall man appeared in the doorway, silhouetted by headlights. He wore a long coat, his hair slicked back, his smile wolfish. Dozens of armed men flanked him, weapons raised. Clara's blood turned to ice. Kazan stepped inside slowly, his eyes sweeping the room until they landed on her. His grin widened. "And who is this pretty thing?" Clara shrank back instinctively, but Adrian shifted, blocking her from view. His voice was low, lethal. "She's not part of this." Kazan chuckled. "If that were true, you wouldn't be hiding her." He tilted his head. "The girl Petrov was supposed to meet. The one with the wrong number." Clara froze. "They know about me." Adrian didn't flinch. "You leave her out of it." Kazan's laugh echoed through the boathouse. "Still playing Knight Cross? We both know you're no savior." He gestured lazily, and one of his men stepped forward, pressing a gun against Adrian's chest. "Here's my offer. You give me the drive, you walk away alive. Keep it, and I'll paint these walls with your blood." Clara's pulse hammered. Adrian was surrounded. Outnumbered. Yet he didn't move, didn't blink. Slowly, Adrian reached into his jacket. Every gun in the room clicked, trained on him. Clara bit her lip until she tasted blood. Adrian pulled out the hard drive. He held it up between two fingers, his expression unreadable. "This is what you want." Kazan's eyes gleamed. "Hand it over." Adrian's lips curved into the faintest smile. "Not so fast." Clara didn't understand. Why wasn't he giving it up? They'd kill him, kill her, if he didn't. Kazan stepped closer, hand outstretched. "You're not in a position to bargain, old friend." Adrian's voice was calm. Almost amused. "I'm always in a position to bargain." Before Kazan could respond, Adrian tossed the hard drive across the room. It slid across the wooden floor, stopping near Clara's hiding place. Every head turned. Every gun shifted. Adrian moved like lightning. He slammed his elbow into the man beside him, yanked his gun free and fired in one fluid motion. The guard dropped. Chaos erupted. Gunfire shattered the silence. Wood splintered. Clara screamed and ducked lower, clutching the envelope against her chest. Adrian dove behind a beam, returning fire with brutal precision. Kazan's men shouted, scattering for cover. "Clara!" Adrian barked. "The drive." Her hands shook violently, but she grabbed the case and clutched it to her chest. "What do I do?" "Get to the back." Adrian shouted. "There's a door." Bullets tore into the wall beside her. Clara crawled across the floor, heart in her throat, the smell of gunpowder burning her lungs. She reached the back door and yanked it open. Cold night air rushed in. "Go!" Adrian roared. But Clara froze. Adrian was still pinned down, Kazan advancing with a predatory smile. "You always were reckless," Kazan taunted, his gun aimed steady at Adrian's chest. "But throwing your life away for a girl? That's new." Clara's chest constricted. She couldn't just run. Not without him. Her father's words echoed in her mind. "Keep this safe, Clara." She made her choice. "No," she screamed, stepping into the open. "You want this? Then take me with it." Kazan's eyes lit up with cruel delight. Adrian cursed under his breath. In the chaos, Adrian lunged forward, tackling Kazan. The two men crashed into the wall, grappling for the gun. "Run!" Adrian roared. Clara hesitated only a second longer before bolting into the night, the drive clutched in one hand, her father's envelope in the other. The last thing she heard before the woods swallowed her was Adrian's voice, fierce and unrelenting. "I told you, Clara, you're mine." The woods were a blur of branches and shadows. Clara stumbled through the mud, lungs burning, heart threatening to tear out of her chest. Behind her, gunfire echoed. Shouts. Explosions of violence. She had no idea if Adrian was alive or dead. She clutched the hard drive to her chest. The envelope was damp with sweat in her other hand. Finally, she collapsed against a tree, gasping for air. Hands trembling, she tore open the envelope. Inside was a letter, the handwriting instantly recognizable. Her father's. "Clara, if you are reading this, then the fire has taken me. It was no accident. I angered men I should never have worked for and they came for me. But I could not leave you with nothing. I left the truth in your hands, hidden in the locket. That truth will either destroy them, or destroy you. Trust no one, Claire. Not even the ones who protect you. Especially not Adrian Cross. He will come for it. And he will not let go of you once he does. Forgive me, my darling. I only wanted to give you a chance." Tears blurred her vision. The paper crumpled in her fists. Her father had known. He had known Adrian would be part of this. A branch snapped behind her. Clara whirled, heart in her throat. Adrian emerged from the shadows, his suit torn, blood streaking his temple. But he was alive. His eyes locked on hers. Relief and terror crashed over her in equal measure. "You're hurt," she whispered. He ignored the words, his gaze falling to the hard drive in her hands. "You found the letter." Her chest tightened. "He warned me about you." Adrian's jaw clenched. He didn't understand. "He said you'd never let go of me. That you'd use me." Adrian stepped closer, his voice low, raw. "Do you think I would have bled for you if you meant nothing? Do you think I'd put myself between you and Kazan's bullets if all I wanted was a drive?" Clara's tears fell freely. "Then what do you want?" His eyes burned into hers. "You." Silence stretched between them, heavy and unbreakable. Clara's hands shook around the hard drive. "If I give this to you, will it end?" Adrian's lips curved faintly, though his eyes remained deadly serious. "It will end one war. But it will begin another. That's the world your father left you." Clara closed her eyes. The weight of choice pressed on her chest like stone. Finally, she whispered, "Then take it." He held out the hard drive. Adrian stepped forward slowly, carefully, and took it from her trembling hands. His fingers brushed hers, warm, grounding. He tucked it into his jacket, then reached up to wipe a tear from her cheek. His touch was gentle, almost reverent. "From this moment," Adrian said softly, "you are no longer just Clara Hayes, the nurse. You are mine. Not by force, not by threat. By fate." Her breath caught. She wanted to deny him, to scream, to run. But her body betrayed her. Her pulse raced under his touch. And deep down, beneath the fear and grief, something inside her whispered that she already belonged. Adrian drew her closer, his voice a promise and a warning all at once. "The fire that began with your father will end with us. Together." The night closed in around them, the mist rising from the lake like ghosts. Clara's old life lay in ashes. And as Adrian's arms wrapped around her, she knew the truth her father had feared most. She had stepped willingly into the shadows. And there was no going back. And that was just the beginning of Clara's descent into Adrian Cross's world. But what would you do in her place? Would you run? Or would you surrender to the shadows? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next twist in our dark tales. Trust me, the story only gets deeper from here. Until next time, keep your phones close, because you never know who might be calling.